So I was 17, and I think that surgery for me was hard, and it was, I guess it had an impact on me in a sense that I developed, and I feel that I've developed almost like a PTSD when it comes to surgery and the recovery, just because I had such a bad experience going through that. I was in the hospital for a very long time because of the infection. But yeah, so that was the beginning of my feelings and my anxiety and my anxiousness towards surgery, not knowing that I was going to have another one. But yeah, so I went home after a month, and then when I was in school, I went to a non-semester school, and they gave the teachers the decision to pass me, and I ended up not passing, and I had to stay back a grade just because I was in the hospital for a month. So that surgery, although it wasn't as impactful health-wise, mentally there were a lot of things that happened in that time and in that experience that was the catalyst to where I am right now, which is 34, and now have had at least 4 to 5 surgeries now. But it did change my perspective on life and my life, because my normal wasn't necessarily the normal that, your regular 18 or 19-year-old or even 20-year-old would have. But I made the most of my normal to see the positive in things despite the challenges that I had to go through. And even university, when it came to excelling in school, I was in a program that was 4 years, but I stayed in school for 7. Now, people who didn't know what I was going through, which at the time was a lot of people, they would say, "Why are you taking so long? It's 4 years. Why are you taking so long?" Not knowing that there were semesters in university that I could only take 1 course. I could only take 2 courses because my health was so severely bad. And I think I would only explain that to the people that were in my close circle, but to hear from outside people making comments about the fact that, "Oh, you're taking long," yes, it had an impact on me. I would say at the beginning, initially, it was a negative impact because, it does weigh on you when people are saying, "Why aren't you done this? Why are you not hitting that milestone?" But I took that as ammunition and fuel to get where I needed to get. Yes, it will take longer, but when you get to that point, it makes things much more sweeter. So I remember when I had my graduation, they only allowed for 2 people to come, and my close family, somehow we got 14 tickets. And it was the best day of my life. Like, I remember walking across that stage and people not knowing the journey that I had to go on to get to that point. And it was the biggest accomplishment to date for me, because I knew the times when I went to the ability office in the university and they had said, "You know what, you shouldn't take a full course load because of your health." And, I listened, and then I took it into my own hands and I said, "You know what, I can do what I can manage, what I believe I can manage." And it took a while, but I was able to accomplish that in university.